Well, welcome back to day number 34, and today I'm hoping to be working on my Gable hinge here, that I can start getting my trusses built. Well, actually rafters. I'll be actually making the rafters. I debated about whether to have trusses built or make my own rafters, but well, it's a little bit cheaper to make my own rafters, and I'll have to have a crane or a boom truck or something to have them lifted up. I can do it myself, so I'm going to be cutting all my rafters to size using 2x10 20 footers, and it's gonna be exciting, and I'll show you how I make my own rafters. And it's actually quite simple, and it's something you can actually do yourself, and it goes pretty smoothly. But today I'm gonna work on focusing on building my gable hinge here. That way I can have my ridge board, not ridge beam, going across and have my rafters tied to that. So here we go for day number 34. Well, the start of day 34 was quite windy and a little too gusty, having gusts up to 40 miles an hour, so I kind of had to wait till the next day here. But I'm starting to work on my gable end here, and this is actually not too difficult to do. I got my center height that I wanted, and I'll show the website here in a minute how I get the correct angles and the rafter size and everything. But once I get my ridge board up here, and there is a difference between a ridge board and a ridge beam. A ridge board does not carry the load, and I have no idea why my camera's doing this, but anyways, but a ridge beam actually does. But instead of getting a massive beam to go a span of 46 feet, I'm just going to do a ridge board, which means I do need to do rafter ties, which I'll show that when I get to that point. And other than that, really the difference is a board doesn't carry a weight, but a ridge beam does. The board is just there to help tie the rafters together. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using 2x10 20 footers to be able to make my actual rafters. And they were quite heavy to get up all the way up to the rip here, but yeah, we got to figure it out. It took a little bit to get them all up there. It took, I think, a total of 50 of them, I think. 26 on each side, 30, 51, 52, I don't know. But anyways, it took a while to get them all up there. But once I got them up there, I got some 2x6s as well. That way I could frame in the rest of my gable ends. But the website that I'm using to be able to make these rafters, and I could show you and sound really smart, look smart, and show you on a speed square, but if you don't use a speed square every day, you're just going to forget. So I'm just going to show you an easy way to do it. You're still going to use your speed square, but this website actually shows you the angles and the correct measurements. It just makes it very simple to do. So this is the website I'm using. It's called blocklayer.com. It has all kinds of cool calculations you can do for construction. But I'm going to click on this roof calculation, go to my gable roof, and I'm just going to put in my measurements for my building, which is a 46-foot length wall. And then also I have a 32-foot width on my wall. So very simple, 46 by 32. On my overhangs, I'm just going to go with 12 inches or a foot overhang for the gable end. And then for the wall height, it's 8-foot wall thickness. It's 5.5 inch wall plus my 1/2 inch for my sheathing, so it'll be 6 inches. And then I'm going to do for a bird's mouth seat, I want 6 inches, of course, to cover all that. My rafter thickness is, of course, 1.5 inches. And then my rafter depth is going to be 9 1/4 because I'm using a 2x10. My ridge depth, I'm using a 2x12, so it's going to be 11 1/4. And the spacing, I'm doing 24 inches on center. And once I do that, just put in all my calculations. It does all the work for me and shows cool little graphs here. Shows what it'll look like for the exact spacing. Makes it super easy. And allows you even to adjust the angle, which I'm going to because I want a certain height I'm looking for, and I'll explain later why. But so I'm going to adjust this, and I purposely bought 20 footers, so I'm going to use 19, 11, 3/4 here for my total length. Plenty of room, and this is how I set up my rafters. And what's neat about this, like I said, it shows pictures of the angles, and it makes it real simple. Then you can get your speed score out and just copy it. It makes it really simple. Now I just make a template piece, that way I always have the exact same angles. So I just got a scrap piece of wood here, got my 29.9 degree angle, just going to mark it on one end of the board here, and then I'm just going to mark my bird's mouth here. And again, I'm just copying everything I had off this website, and then go to the opposite end of the board, mark it, grab my circular saw here, and just cut right on the line. And it's just this simple to make your own rafters. It's really not that difficult. You don't have to be a genius with the speed square, though. The more you learn it, the more you'll like it. Then just carefully cut right on these lines here. That is some fabulous surgeon hands there, keeping that nice and steady. But once you get these all cut out, and as long as you got all your measurements, you just copy it. It works perfect. As long as the rafters are all the same size, it'll keep a nice straight ridge line or ridge board all the way across there. Now I'm just putting the rest of my 2x6s down here. I have 2 on the 46-foot long ends where all my rafters are going to go, but I'm just going to put 1 on the bottom here for my actual gable ends. And basically what I'm doing, what you really want to do is just pretty much mirror and copy your gable ends. That way, look, they're exactly the same. All the measurements are the same. All the angles are the same. And I marked all my 16 inches on center. And then after I got all these down, and after that, I can start working on building my gable end. And it's, again, fairly simple to do. You just want to get your height that you want. And again, I have a particular height I'm looking for because I want to be able to stand up here. I want to be able to duck my head. And so I'm looking for a height about 6 feet, 6 inches once I put my rafter ties in. And once I have that measurement, then I just kind of work down at an angle all the way to nothing for the edges, make sure I get my foot overhang, and it's that simple to be able to make your own gable ends. And again, the biggest thing is you want them to be exactly the same. You want the same height, that way that ridge line, that ridge board is going to be even all the way across. And as long as you copy the first one, it'll be simple to do. And once I put all this together, it starts looking more like a roof. And just like the rest of my walls, I'm going to build these standing up because, well, I don't have a couple extra men to help me lift these walls. And so I'm going to build from the center out. That way I have my exact height that I want. And it makes it real easy. So I put my centers in, and I put my last little board down, which ended up being like 8 inches there at the very end, or 7 inches. I can't remember the measurement. And all I do is I just, first I have a string line. That way I have the exact angle that I need. And I cut all those to the right side. But since I already have my other gable end built, I just copy those measurements because everything's exactly the same. And I'm just going to cut these and lay them out one at a time. It's the same angle as my rafters, which is for me, it's 29.9 degrees because I'm looking for an exact angle, which it ends up being almost a 712 roof, just under a 712 roof is what this will end up being. So these angles are going to be the same angles as my rafters. And I'm actually making these 1.5 inches lower to what my rafters will sit at. That way, and I'll show when I get to that point, whenever I do my overhang, my 12 inches overhang, I can put a 2x4 overhanging on this gable end wall, and I'll have to cut any notches out, and it just works way better. And when I get to that point, I'll show that. But anyways, it'll make more sense later, but I make mine 1.5 inches lower because it only makes sense and I don't have to do extra work later, and it's way stronger that way. And here we go. Since I have all these up here, just get my 16-footer 2x6 and just nail it up the very end there, and as long as it ends level, then I can just nail the rest in. If my measurements are right and those angles will line up perfectly, and all those will be level. Makes it real simple and real easy if you take a few extra minutes just to make sure you got all the angles right. And again, that website, it makes it dummy proof almost. It's got pictures, which I'm a visual learner, so when it's got pictures and colors and graphs, I get excited because I know I'm doing it the right way. And so anyway, makes it real simple, and all I do is just take those same exact measurements, copy them, and flip them to the other side, and that's all it is to building gable ends and rafters. And that is how you build gable ends. And as you notice, I only got 16 footers here, so I got to add a few extra feet on the end of these, which is fine. It'll have support underneath it. Not a big deal at all for this last little foot of overhang at the bottom. But in the next video, I'm going to show how I put my ridge boards in place by myself and get the rest of these rafters in, and it'll start looking like a house with a roof on it. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification so you can see the rest of these tricks of the trade to build your own house.